Hi, I'm Stephen Untledge, and I was recently diagnosed with ADHD. As I learned how to manage it, I started noticing surprising parallels between my struggles and how society has been handling climate change. Let me explain. The hardest part about dealing with ADHD isn't our chaotic, racing thoughts. It's the gap between knowing what we need to do and actually being able to do it. To adapt for this, we learn how to design systems that anticipate our failures. This approach is called scaffolding, and it allows people with ADHD to develop better habits over time that gradually become more effective and less visible. It has nothing to do with individual willpower, just as I believe climate action shouldn't depend on the political willpower that rarely seems to materialize. Let's walk through this concept of scaffolding with 3 concrete examples. I grew up in the US. My home state of Michigan has a 10-cent deposit on bottles. Every major store has a return facility, and you'd hardly ever see a bottle in the trash. Then I worked for a couple years in San Francisco, where my colleagues would routinely just toss bottles away. Despite the state having a 5-cent deposit, there were no recycling centers in the city. You had to travel 40 minutes out of your way just to reach one. All this despite the fact that California actually required stores to have a return facility or pay a monthly fine, and every single store opted to pay that fine. This isn't non-compliance, it's a failure of design. I often used to miss my own deadlines. Without any external pressure, they didn't feel urgent or even real. And if we wait until it's urgent for the climate crisis, then we're already too late. My second example is my plug-in hybrid. Even with the additional 400 kilograms of battery weight, I get better fuel economy than the petrol version. Instead of banning petrol engines outright, why don't we just mandate plug-in hybrids? People have legitimate concerns around range anxiety and charging infrastructure, and I wouldn't be surprised if those bans are delayed as a result. Let's scale the viable solution we have today instead of waiting for some future perfection. Finally, with ADHD, we design systems to do our remembering for us. What if we let our cities remember to clean themselves without our intervention? Titanium dioxide is the pigment used in white paint, and it also has the interesting property of being photovoltaic. Painting buildings white not only reflects sunlight, but it would also generate a small amount of electricity. Combine this with emissions reducing concrete, and these existing technologies would help our cities become greener with hardly anyone noticing. And that's exactly the point. ADHD makes it hard to stop myself procrastinating from diving into endless, interesting rabbit holes. Just like we as a society constantly chase these shiny silver bullets for climate change while missing many of our own self-imposed targets. Lasting change won't come from silver bullets. It'll come from a multitude of small, boring improvements that actually work. What I've highlighted, they're all proven solutions, ones that are designed to anticipate our messiness and our chaos. They provide us with a robust scaffolding that eventually fades into the background, just like the techniques that I use to manage my ADHD. Sometimes, the most radical climate action is the one that looks like we're doing nothing at all.